I've been in this building for 5 hours and no one has complimented my new shoes. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast. On today's episode, we'll talk about Roki Sasaki, Luis Robert Jr., and more in the Diehard Mailbag. Welcome into the CHGO White Sox Podcast, coming to you live from Studio A of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson, your host. Weird. Hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We're being produced today by our pal, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello. We are not alone. Sarah's here and you're here.
I am here.
Yes, you're here. And you're not a ghost. I'm not seeing dead people. I'm not Macaulay Culkin. But you're also here, the viewer. Ryan's hanging out with us in the chat. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, subscribing, and if you have any White Sox thoughts, let us know. On today's episode, we'll be hearing from our diehards in our CHGO Discord. I asked for questions. They delivered. I got about 5 questions from our diehards that we will get to. We'll lead off with some Roki Sasaki talk. I tried to do some digging, and I'm not an ant. Worm? Who do you think is more of a digger?
Oh, ants.
Ants are
Ants are smarter than worms.
Dig? Yeah, I mean anthills.
Yeah, ant.
Okay.
Ant.
All right, so I try to do some digging like an ant, and I will try to let you know what I found. And we'll do a little bit more here on the CHGO White Sox Podcast. The Fat Hipster is asking where Vinny and Herb is at home. All right, let's get into Roki Sasaki talk. The White Sox, so far, do not have a meeting with Roki Sasaki. According to MLB.com, Marc Feinsand of MLB.com, there have been 6 teams that have had an in-person meeting with the Japanese phenom. The Mets, Yankees, Rangers, Giants, Dodgers, and Cubs have met in person with Roki Sasaki. Sarah, do you notice anything about that list of 6 teams?
The Cubs are on it.
The Cubs are on it. Who's not on it?
The Sox?
The White Sox.
Oh, the White Sox,
The White Sox are not on it.
I was going to say, I don't think they would be on it.
Hey, some people are really excited. Again, Chris Getz said that they were sending in a slideshow to present to Roki Sasaki and his representatives. I have brought up very tongue-in-cheekly that Tadahito Iguchi was his manager, his first ever professional manager. I don't know how strong that connection is, but so far, as of 2 days ago, the White Sox have not met with Roki Sasaki. Craig Breslow of the Red Sox have said they don't have a meeting currently scheduled with Sasaki. So right now, those are the 6 teams that have met with him. I don't know if the slideshow has worked. And also, I don't know if this is where the story rests, because I think they still have about maybe 15 days or so. I think there's maybe about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks, until Roki Sasaki needs to make his decision, so, could still be open for business, could taking meetings. James Fox of Future Sox tweeted on December 21st, in regards to Roki Sasaki, the White Sox will or have had a meeting with him and his representatives. Tadahito Iguchi has played a role in the connection. Again, will or have had, that's December 21st, it's December 30th, we can deduce from our pal Marc Feinsand that meeting has not happened. Is it possible it could? I don't know. I reached out to James Fox. And what did James Fox say? Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything.
Okay,
He didn't say anything. So, yeah, nothing. James Fox has not said anything. If something happens, maybe something will develop on the show as I'm talking. But right now, I don't think the White Sox are meeting Roki Sasaki. I think James just might have been wrong. Oh, he's typing now as we speak. All right, so hey, maybe I'll have an update.
Well, I don't think he's going to make a decision, Roki, until the very last day. Might as well use up the 2 weeks.
Right. You think that he's at least going to, it's more about, will they have a meeting? Will they get the chance to passionately tell him about 35th and Shields, passionately tell him about the Comiskey dog,
The new rate field.
The new rate field.
Yes.
The Cubano sandwiches. The
Those
connection
are really
of Tadahito Oguchi and how shiny his 2005 ring is. James said he was told they were, but who knows? Maybe it was only a presentation. So I will say, if I had to go out on a limb, I don't think the White Sox are going to have a presentation with Roki Sasaki, a meeting with Roki Sasaki. And I would say that the chances of him being a White Sox are slim to none. So those are the Roki Sasaki thoughts. I don't think they're in the mix anymore. I don't think it's going to happen. It seemed far-fetched. This is a team that doesn't have deep international skills. They tried their best to dominate Cuba. That didn't really work out as we sit here in another rebuild. I think at least for that market, the Asian, Japanese, Korean market, I think you need to have baby steps here. I think the Hae-Sung Kim, who's different than Ha-Sung Kim, the former Padre, who's also a free agent. There's two Kims that are currently free agents. The one that is just about to make his major league debut, I think it's more likely that he could be White Sox. MLB trade rumors back at the start of the offseason had two of their writers say that the White Sox could be a landing spot. Maybe that's a name that we see because there is possibly a spot to fill out in the middle infield. So I think, maybe baby steps before we go for the Japanese phenom Roki Sasaki, who you're fighting with the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees. Hey, the Cubs are there, so you should probably be there. But again, baby steps.
The Cubs are barely in that.
Well, and it makes, but Darvish has pitched for them. Imanaga has pitched for them. They have had Japanese stars play for their franchise.
Yeah.
Fukudome, if you want to. Fukudome, White Sox legend, but also back end of his career. The White Sox have only had Oguchi. Outside of that, Shingo Takatsu, but it's been a very long time. It's not a market they've really dove into a ton. So I'm going to say Roki Sasaki won't be a White Sox. So sorry to break your hearts, but maybe in 6 years, the seed has been laid and maybe it will grow into Roki Sasaki signing as a free agent. I doubt it. In other White Sox news, we didn't have a show last week. I'll let you in behind the curtain. Had a little medical issue, so thank you for your patience. I know how fun the news with Vinny and Herb happens last Thursday, and I'm here all by myself, crying lonesome in the studio. And then next week, I'll be like, I can't wait to give you White Sox coverage, and then we're just not here. So happy to ghost you, but we're back and excited to give you more White Sox stuff. Were you going to say something, Sarah?
I was just saying I'm here.
Oh, and Sarah's here. So, we're
and Gary's here.
And who?
Gary Ross.
Yeah. Love Gary. Gary, depending on the day, Gary's either in hot water, cold water with me. Anyways, while we were gone, there was some White Sox news. Corey Julks was DFA'd. Cam Boozer was acquired from the Boston Red Sox for Yokir Farhado. Ian Eskridge and James Fox did much better at pronouncing Farhado's name. But Farhado was in their top 30. He was in the DSL. He was about 17 years old. Farhado wasn't a part of Keller's system, and I think that's the main reason why they're willing to depart with the 17-year-old. James and Ian talked about how hit or miss prospects are in the DSL. So while he did have a 3-something ERA in 50 innings pitched in the DSL, an 11.4 K per 9 and a 1.4 walk per 9, the hits per 9 were pretty high, 9.2 hits per 9. It seemed like found money as they were talking about, and Ian even let you behind the curtain of Future Sox by saying that Farhado was honestly included on the top 30 just to give the DSL some love. It was more about awareness of, hey, look what's going on in the DSL. This kid's only 17 and doing all right. Maybe he'll turn into something. It wasn't even based on a value prospect. Boozer could be a major league reliever right away. I think this is very savvy spending by Chris Getz, and we'll talk about why right after the break. We want to let you know about our friends over at LunnCougal. I wrote down notes. Of course you're craving summer sandy. It's 50 degrees out. It was so hot this weekend. You only had to wear a sweatshirt. You're probably thinking it's still summer. I know the winter equinox was just on the 21st. When James Fox tweeted about Roki Sasaki, you were probably craving a summer shandy, and I have great news for you. Summer Shandy is now in stock all year long. You don't have to wait until the summer to get your Summer Shandy. And my favorite thing about LunnCougal, I'm not a big drinker. I'm not really allowed, okay? But I have sampled a LunnCougal. My favorite thing is just the amount of flavor they're able to pack into every single beer. You try this Berry Weiss? Have you tried this Berry Weiss? A blast of berries.
I do like LunnCougal.
That's what I'd say.
I do.
I'd say a
I like
blast
the classic flavor. What is that? The Summer Shandy?
It's Summer Shandy, available year-round. Berry Weiss. It's blackberries, elderberries, and loganberries. And I looked this up, Sarah. Do you know what a loganberry is?
No.
It's a hybrid of a blackberry and a raspberry.
It sounds great.
I know, right? It's great. It blasts you with loganberries. Every Berry Weiss. I prefer the Sunset Wheat. That's the blueberry one. That's my favorite berry. If we're going into a berry field, a berry patch, a berry garden,
Berry field.
berry field.
Yeah.
Is that a person?
No, like
Okay.
berry field.
I would pick out blue. Blue's my favorite berry. So I like the Sunset Wheat, but try the sampler. You could try whatever you want. For over 150 years, LunnCougal has been brewing German traditions with Wisconsin innovation, and you don't have to just pick one. Again, they have a popular variety pack that comes with 4 favorites to try and enjoy. Flavor every moment with LunnCougal's, the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. Go to LEINIE.com/CHGO to find delivery options near you. I'm going to spell again. That's LEINIE.com/CHGO, or pick up LunnCougal's pretty much anywhere they sell beer. LunnCougal's, flavor the moment, celebrate responsibly. The Jacob LunnCougal Brewing Company, Chippewa Falls.
Yes.
Berry Bush, Berry Bramble. Is that where brambles are? I don't know. All right. We also want to let you know about our friends over at ComEd. Did you know ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient?
I did not.
Oh, you're doing it. I thought we were going to do the bit with the camera. It's okay. I didn't know that we were doing... No, Sarah. The energy efficiency program can help you find up to 35% in energy savings.
That sounds great.
It does sound great.
Yeah, I use ComEd.
Maybe ask them what a business owner should do.
What business owners should they do?
Oh, business owners should just go get a free facility assessment at ComEd.com/biz.
Did you say ComEd.com/biz?
Yeah, but ask why more businesses aren't doing it.
Why aren't more businesses doing it?
Maybe it's because they forgot the website.
What's the website called?
Well, that's your. It's ComEd.
Did you say ComEd.com/biz?
Right there, yeah.
Learn more at ComEd.com/biz.
Say it a couple more times.
ComEd.com/biz.
One more time.
I use ComEd.com/biz.
And you should. Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law. Back here on the CHGO White Sox podcast with Sarah. And let us know any of your thoughts about the Chicago White Sox in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button. Kenny Powers letting us know this show really sucks now. God bless you, Kenny Powers. You couldn't even make it in the Mexican League. We'll just leave it at that. And the thumbs down. All right. Let's get into Cam Boozer. Boozer is going to be a player that has control for a while, and I think this is how you should build out a major league bullpen. I just produced the Cubs show earlier today, and Cody was talking about spending some of the possible $67 million the Cubs have to spend before they're at the first luxury tax threshold on bullpen. And I started getting shivers down my spine. I started thinking about Kendall Graveman. I started thinking about Liam Hendricks. I started thinking about trading for Craig Kimbrell. I started thinking about how, some of the bigger mistakes by Rick Hahn in that rebuild was the relievers and how much they spent on their relievers. I don't think you should spend much on it, especially when you have a Brian Bannister. It's fairly easy and fairly cheap to keep relievers, especially ones that aren't getting saves, around for a low price. You just got Justin Anderson, who's only going to cost you $1.2 million this year, who's likely going to be your closer, for nothing. I think it's a ton of guys that you could find, especially with as many arm injuries as there are out there, that can possibly just find that certain 2 pitches that work for them, and they're able to find a successful major league career. One of those guys is Cam Boozer. 6'3" lefty, 225. He's 32 years old, from Seattle, Washington. He was not drafted at all. He went to Oregon State for a year, I guess, and had like a 6.55 ERA and 11 innings pitched, then did something in 2012. I don't know. But then in 2013, he was picked up as a free agent by the Minnesota Twins. Really didn't cut it. 2017 came around. He was completely out of baseball. Was out of baseball until 2021. I didn't read much into Cam Boozer just yet, so maybe there is a story where he's, picks up a ball for the first time during the pandemic and still figures out he can touch 96. Because then in 2021, here's the Chicago connection. He was a Chicago dog. 193 ERA in the independent league in 23 1/3 innings, 15 K per nine with a 3.9 walk per nine. That did him well enough to, I guess, pitch again in the with Lancaster in the independent league. But then he did well enough to get a signing with the Diamondbacks. So woohoo. Was with the Diamondbacks in 2022, back in the major leagues. Then in 2023, goes from Arizona to Boston, and in 2 years with Boston, pitching in AAA and then AAA and the major leagues in 2024. 3.38 ERA in 42 2/3 innings in his first major league appearance when he's 32 years old. 9.1 K per nine, 3.4 walk per nine. There was a graphic made by our pal over at TJ Stats talking about Boozer stuff back in AAA to start off the season. Again, left-hander, touches 96 miles per hour on his four-seam fastball, uses his cutter, slider, and four-seam fastball equally. The slider touches about 83 to 82 miles per hour. The cutter about 88 to 89 miles per hour. Those are the two pitches he uses the most, but he also has a four-seamer that can touch 96. The two best pitches, at least by TJ Stuff Plus, the cutter 102 plus or 102 Stuff Plus, the four-seamer 101 Stuff Plus, the slider at 98 Stuff Plus. You're assuming that Bannister thinks that he can adjust those grips possibly to either get some seam shifted wake effect, or he just likes the lefty coming out of the pen. I think Boozer is a part of the 40-man, and that is why Corey Julks has to be DFA'd. So sorry to our guy Sam Guterman. That was his guy. I think he had a Corey Julks jersey or was planning to buy one. So, hold off your Hanukkah gifts for Sam. Hold off your holiday gifts for Sam. Do not include a Corey Julks jersey because now he's been DFA'd. But Boozer interesting just because this is a guy that now you can immediately put into the Major League bullpen. You got him and Ellard and Schuster as the three lefties in the bullpen, which seems like enough. And then we'll see if, Ron Marinaccio can cut it. He's currently in the bullpen, but if they are going into the, offseason with these three lefties, Boozer seems like a guy that I'm willing to give a shot. And it seems like you're going to have his entire Major League career under a affordable 6-year contract. And if he's bad, whatever. You just cut him. He's very, very cheap. So I think this is the right way, at least for Chris Getz and most Major League bullpens, to be built. Maybe you have a closer that's really dominant and you extend him. But I think that's if you have a team that you really believe in. Maybe that's when you do make a Liam Hendricks-like investment to get that shutdown closer. But right now, the White Sox, after losing 121 games, likely only going to, improve that by maybe 10 wins at best this year, be around 110 losses. 110 losses. I think that there's no reason to spend on the bullpen. This is a easy thing to just see if you get a bullpen arm for cheap. So Cam Boozer, 2 thumbs up from this podcast host. We are going to take a break here on the CHGO White Sox podcast. We have to talk about our friends over at Prize Picks, and we will let you know about our friends over at CHSN. We want to let you know about Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all seasons long on Prize Picks. You have college football going on. You have NFL going on. There's a Monday night game tonight. You have NBA, NHL going on. I think in that Monday night game, I'm going to end up going with a 2-pick entry. I don't like going up to 6. That's just my personal thing. I kind of only like riding on the 2. So the 2 that I'm going on the Monday night game, you got the Lions versus the 49ers. Deebo Samuel less than 48.5 yards receiving. Jamison Williams more than 29.5 yards. I think that you're going to get a decent pay. It's times 2 pay, your wager, times 2 your wager there. So that's my play tonight on Monday Night Football. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my pick hits, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes, and Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead up to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the app today and use code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CHGO to get $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. We also want to let you know about our friends over at CHSN. We're sponsored by the Chicago Sports Network, the new home for the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox game. Our friends over at the 108 interviewed the voice of the Chicago White Sox, John Schriffen, who will be over calling the games on the flagship of the Chicago White Sox, CHSN. CHSN will broadcast more than 300 live games per year across the Blackhawks, Bulls, and White Sox, and will feature a full lineup of original Chicago-focused sports content. They're also Chicago-based, Chicago-built, and Chicago to the core, and they're bringing it to every corner of Chicago across our 78 neighborhoods and beyond. At CHSN, Chicago comes first. Visit chsn.com for more information on how to watch Bulls, Hawks, and Sox games all season long. We've also heard that 2 paper clips can also get a decent signal. It's over the air. So, some people have, they don't want to buy the antenna. So, they get real DIY with it. You take 2 paper clips, you stick it in the back of the TV. I guess I'm telling people how to steal our sponsor.
I came from a generation where I just look up certain websites.
Yes. Are we out of the ad break where we're talking about?
Oh, yeah, the ad break's out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hit the thumbs up button and make sure you're subscribing to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. We appreciate all of your thoughts. Let's get into our Diehard Discord chats and messages. So you got my Cam Boozer thoughts. Big K numbers. Will he go out there and walk 2 guys every appearance? Possible. As long as he strikes out 3, you're good. Anyways, let's get into the Discord. First up, Jared Willis, pal of the show, in the Discord asked, what would you say to Cubs fans mulling the idea of the team taking a flyer on Moncada? I am all in on that. I am totally in and will follow wherever Yohan Moncada goes in 2025. I'm rooting for him. I think that he's a very good baseball player. He was fine for the first 12 games we saw him. It was just he made it 89 feet and fell 1 foot shy of the bag at first base, and then we never really saw him again. He was a pinch runner in Los Angeles in September, but outside of that, we didn't see much of Moncada. I would love to see a comeback story from either him or Eloy Jimenez, maybe both, because there's not much to watch from a White Sox perspective. If he goes to the north side, great. I think that he can perform well. If he goes to Toronto, I know our guy KPW will be excited, so I'd be excited for at least Connor. But I think that he'd be decent for whoever loses out on the Bregman sweepstakes. There are 2 major league third baseman free agents, Alex Bregman and Yohan Moncada. Obviously, big gap between Bregman and Moncada, but there's a pretty big and sizable gap between Moncada and the next available free agent. Moncada can be an everyday third baseman for a major league team, and I think that if the Cubs miss out on Bregman or they think he's a cheaper option, I think it's fine. You have Shaw who can back him up. I think if the Red Sox miss out on Bregman, I think that Moncada could easily play there. If Houston misses out on Bregman and they don't spend $70+ million on Alex Bregman, Yohan Moncada that can play there. They tried with Jose Abreu. Yohan Moncada's 6 years younger and doesn't have back issues. So there you go. I think it's a decent signing for somebody. I think that he'll have 1 more year that's at least 3+ WAR. I don't think that he's going to just be a complete shell and fade out. Eloy might, and we'll talk about Eloy tomorrow, but at least to Jared, I'd like for the Cubs to sign him, but I talked to Cody, our Cubs guy. He said he'd like Bregman, obviously, Bohm, Shaw, and then Moncada. So Moncada's 4th on his list. I would play Shaw if I was the Cubs, but this is on Cubs show. Lexi in the Discord asked, any news on Luis Robert Jr.? It's been quiet. It has been very quiet. There seemingly was no interest at the winter meetings now that we are about 2 weeks out in Luis Robert Jr. And all of the reporting around Luis Robert Jr.'s interest is the White Sox are asking for way too much. And funnily enough, Ken Rosenthal, and I think this is where the rumors lie with this, Ken Rosenthal on December 2nd said from an executive, I don't think they understand what his value is, Robert's value from the White Sox. The White Sox naturally bristle at the notion that they are overreaching. According to a source briefed on their thinking, their position is that the suitors for Roberts essentially want something for nothing. They aren't asking for multiple prospects, this source said, but they want a meaningful piece in return. The way the White Sox see it, there is no point in trading Robert for, say, a team's 15th best prospect. At that price, the team might be better off carrying Robert into the season and taking on the chance that he would rebuild his valuable. So pretty much, if you look at the Garrett Crochet trade, right now, they could basically trade him for Wikelman Gonzalez. They could trade him for the fourth piece of Luis Robert Jr. straight up. Wikelman was pretty much the Red Sox 15th prospect, and that's what the White Sox basically can get for Luis Robert Jr. right now. I think that's fairly ridiculous. I think we all watched this 2023 and saw how just amazing he was and the talent that naturally showed. In 2024, it was injury riddled, but he still showed decent speed on the base paths. I thought his defense was fine. I'm very surprised at his StatCast numbers saying that he's a below average defender. I thought that from the eye test, he looked like normal Luis Robert Jr., who's a Gold Glove, at least caliber defender in center field. The hitting was horrible, but we just saw one amazing year from him and one awful year from him. I'm surprised that no team is willing to take him on for $15 million, especially when like Trevor Williams is signing with the Nationals for $15 million over 2 years. Like, I think Luis Robert Jr. can be a possible 5-WAR player, and it could be very easy for a team to sign him, or at least for a team to trade for him, to pick him up. I don't think the Sox are crazy for asking for a top 10 prospect. I'm surprised no team has done it yet. I think if you had to ask me right now, he will be on the White Sox come opening day. Hit the Panther growl. Boom. All right.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. Who wouldn't be excited?
Well, he's the only player where I'm like, yeah, he's entertaining. I like watching him.
He's the only one with talent. He's pretty much the only one getting paid. I mean, I guess Benintendi's getting paid.
What are you looking for?
I thought I had my water. This is a good bit. I don't have it. Good shot. All right. Let's get into Ashley Page, who asked in the Discord, who would you pit in a Seinfeld feats of strength battle for their lineup spot? From what I understand, again, the feats of strength from Festivus is you have to pin the household owner, and that's the feat of strength, is you have to wrestle that person down to the ground, and that is the feat of strength. I would have to expand it. I think you would have to have Colas versus Deloach versus Dominic Fletcher, the lefties competing in some sort of baseball-themed feats of strength. I would go to a round of hitting in the MVP baseball game from 2005 where there's like ramps and stuff on the actual field. You know, maybe some portals, some vortex. The best of, 10 balls hit. That's the person that, gets the win in that. And then the other one, I would have them stand in the corner by the 108, like that corner just by the foul pole, kind of where Blake Rutherford, but not Blake Rutherford, tore up his knee. Dustin Fowler tore up his knee. I would have them stand in that corner and then have a bucket on third base, and then just the closest to the bucket, person who gets it into the bucket. I think that would be the whole gag. And then the two that do the best in those two, the round of hitting and the bucket gag from right field, I think then those two wrestle, and then that person, is the bench bat, the bench lefty, along with Slater or Talkman. So that would be the feats of strength that I would do, Ashley. All right. We have Lexi, who asked about Luis Robert Jr. We got that. Fresco Elmo asked in the Discord, comparable to 2018, how confident are you with the current state of the Sox rebuild post-Crochet trade? 2018 offers Eloy Cease. However, Moncada graduated, I believed. I would say tempered. According to 2018, I was all in. I thought that trading Sale was the right move. I thought trading Quintana was the right move. I was hearing the trash cans in Houston and I was all for a rebuild, thinking that the White Sox were going to do it correctly and that we were going to build a dominant team for years to come. And little did they know Dana Brown was there to just completely ruin it. Plus, when you look at it, they had 3 top 30 prospects. 4th was Jimenez, 10th was Kopech, 28th was Robert. I think we all thought at that moment, too, Robert was the best of the 3. So that's why we were really excited, being like, well, you think Eloy's good, who's number 4. Just wait until you see Robert. I'm not gung-ho about trading Cease. I wasn't gung-ho about trading Crochet. I was definitely a meatball about Crochet and still hold that. I think that he easily will be our generation's Randy Johnson. I thought you could have signed him to a 10-year deal, but we know Jerry Reinsdorf does not spend on pitching. I think the highest pitching contract they still have given out is John Danks. It might be Dallas Keuchel. Disgusting either way. And they still have 3 top 30 prospects comparable to Jimenez, Kopech, and Robert. Schultz is 16th. Teal is 25th. Hagen is 30th. But I think, again, going back to Jerry doesn't pay for pitching, we're going to get 6 years out of Schultz and Hagen, and then they're going to become free agents, or we're going to trade them by year 3 or 4 or 5. Like, there's nothing to really get excited about, and we know how important bats are and their health to the White Sox to having this be a successful rebuild. So I would definitely say tempered, even though I do think Chris Getz is trying to clean up everything. I think this is more the 2017 year for the White Sox, and next year will be closer to 2018, but we'll wait and see. Final question is from Alex, and I wrote way too much about this. He asked, any locks for the college football quarterfinal? I went and broke it down game by game, and that's way too much. I will give out this. Boise State plus 11, all favorites covered in the first round. I don't think that happens. I don't trust Penn State, even though Boise State's defense is a little iffy. I think they've been able to prepare for this matchup for a month. They knew Penn State was going to be able to handle SMU. They put all their chips into that PSU basket. They did very well against Oregon, 37-34. Only Penn State has scored more points against Oregon in a game. The second team is Boise State, who put up 34. Penn State put up 37. So I think that's a good sign that Penn State, or at least Boise State, can handle or hang with Penn State. So I'll go Boise State plus 11. Texas ASU under 51.5. Only 2 Texas games went over 51.5. This is Texas games to dictate. I don't think ASU has the quarterback to stay in it, so I think Texas wins in a big blowout, so you could take the points. I think it's 13.5. I'll just take under 51.5. Oregon plus 2.5. You could take money line, but it's only plus 110 on the money line, so I'll take Oregon 2.5. They beat Ohio State earlier. I know this game won't be in Eugene. Ohio State had more penalties in the first matchup. I think they also had more turnovers. I think they lost a fumble where Oregon didn't turn the ball over once. So maybe that's where the game turns and Ohio State's able to get the victory. But I honestly hate Ohio State. I hate Ryan Day. And yeah, I would like them to lose. So I'll go Oregon. And then Georgia money line. God bless Cole Kmet, his brother, Greg Braggs, who apparently is a Notre Dame fan. They think that the Golden Domers can beat Georgia, and they've done decent outside of different bowl games. You know, the Gator Bowl, 2022, they beat South Carolina. The 2018 Citrus Bowl, they beat LSU. 2014 Music City Bowl, they beat LSU. But in big bowls, Notre Dame has lost the 2021 Rose Bowl to Alabama 31-14. The 2013 BCS Championship game, the Manti Te'o game, 42-14, and they lost the 2007 Sugar Bowl 41-14 to LSU. When they played the cream of the crop of LSU, they get destroyed. I think Georgia is easy money, even though Stockton Rush or Gunnar Henderson or whoever the hell is starting for Georgia. So those are my answers. I do see we have a super chat from my guy Husky Bardo saying, Sean, thanks for everything you do. Happy New Year's, brother. We appreciate you, Diehard. We appreciate Kenny Powers, who's asking if I'm high. God bless all of you listeners, especially Miss Melissa. We appreciate you hanging out with me and bearing through this. This is not what I chose, and I hope you remember that. So thank you very much. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. The 85 recorded today with Cole Kmet. I believe this is one of the last shows of the year, or well, obviously for the year, but like the season, because the season's about to wrap for the Bears. We got a bowl show. I see Peck showing up, and we're going to be recording a Big Ten show as well. So we got a ton of CHGO Sports content for you. Make sure you're subscribing and hitting that thumbs up button. There's a show tomorrow at 4 p.m., so we will talk a little bit about Eloy Jimenez going to the Tampa Bay Rays tomorrow at 4. I'll see you then. Goodbye.
We all silly like the mayor.